We've all done it. The cake comes out, the candles flicker, everyone sings, and for a brief moment, the whole room is focused on one person. A birthday feels so normal, so universal, that it's hard to imagine a world without them. But here's the surprising part. For most of human history, ordinary people didn't celebrate birthdays at all. So today, we'll uncover: when did birthdays begin? When did humans actually start celebrating birthdays? And why did the tradition even begin in the first place? To answer that, we have to go back thousands of years, long before balloons, party hats, or even calendars as we know them. Let's get into it, right here on History of Simple Things. One of the earliest recorded mentions of a birthday-like celebration comes from ancient Egypt. But it wasn't for regular people. It wasn't even really about birth in the way we think of it. In ancient Egyptian culture, a pharaoh's birthday often referred to the day they were crowned king. Why? Because coronation was seen as a divine rebirth. The ruler wasn't just becoming a political leader, they were transforming into a god on earth. There's even a biblical reference in the book of Genesis that mentions Pharaoh's birthday being celebrated with a feast. That suggests that by at least 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, marking the ruler's special day with food and ceremony was already a thing. But again, this was exclusive. Common farmers, workers, and laborers didn't gather once a year to celebrate turning another year older. Survival was more important than symbolism. Next, we move to ancient Greece, where the idea of birthday celebrations becomes a little more recognizable. The Greeks celebrated the birthdays of their gods. One famous example involves Artemis, the goddess of the moon. Worshippers would bring round cakes to her temple as offerings. These cakes were shaped like the moon, and sometimes decorated with lit candles to make them glow. Sound familiar? Some historians believe this could be one of the earliest roots of putting candles on birthday cakes. The smoke from the candles was thought to carry prayers and wishes up to the gods. In a way, the tradition of blowing out candles and making a wish may have started as a spiritual ritual. But again, this wasn't about celebrating everyday people, it was about honoring divine beings. It wasn't until ancient Rome that birthday celebrations began to look more personal. The Romans were among the first to celebrate the birthdays of ordinary men, at least male citizens. Family and friends would gather, prepare food, give gifts, and hold banquets in honor of the birthday person. But there were limits. Women's birthdays weren't widely celebrated until much later, and enslaved people certainly didn't receive parties. Roman birthday traditions were largely reserved for free men and important public figures. The Romans also celebrated the birthdays of emperors. These celebrations were sometimes treated as public holidays, strengthening loyalty to the ruler and reinforcing political power. So at this point in history, birthdays were slowly shifting from divine or royal events to something more personal, but still not universal. Here's where things get interesting. Early Christians actually discouraged birthday celebrations. Why? Because they were seen as pagan rituals tied to gods and astrology. Many early Christian leaders believed that celebrating the day of someone's birth placed too much focus on the individual. In fact, for centuries, most Christians did not celebrate birthdays at all. One major exception, of course, is the celebration of Jesus Christ's birth, what we now know as Christmas. But even that wasn't formally established until centuries after his lifetime. Ironically, While everyday birthday celebrations were discouraged, celebrating the birth of a religious figure eventually became one of the biggest holidays in the world. For many people during the Middle Ages, personal birthdays simply weren't important. Survival, work, and religious observance dominated daily life. Birthdays didn't truly become widespread for all social classes until the Industrial Revolution. As societies industrialized, several things happened. First, better record-keeping systems developed. Governments started tracking births more carefully. That made it easier to know your exact birth date. Second, living standards gradually improved. As more families moved into cities and gained slightly more disposable income, they could afford small luxuries like sugar, cake, and decorations. Third, mass production made party supplies cheaper and more accessible. By the 19th and early 20th centuries, birthday celebrations were becoming common in Europe and North America, not just for the wealthy, but for ordinary families too. The idea of celebrating individuality had also grown stronger. Western societies increasingly valued personal milestones and self-expression. A birthday wasn't just a date anymore. It became a personal holiday. No modern birthday feels complete without singing Happy Birthday, but even that has a history. The melody comes from a song called Good Morning to All, written in 1893 by two American sisters. Over time, the lyrics were adapted into the version we know today. For decades, the song was under copyright, meaning businesses technically had to pay to use it publicly. It wasn't until 2016 that a U.S. court ruled the copyright claims invalid, effectively placing the song into the public domain. That's right, one of the most sung songs in the world had legal restrictions for over a century. So why do we celebrate birthdays now, when most of our ancestors didn't? Part of it is improved record-keeping. Part of it is economic growth. But a huge part is cultural change. So the next time someone asks, when did humans start celebrating birthdays, the answer isn't a single date. It's a story. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.